Hey garden fam, welcome back to The Sprout. Today we're talking about one of the toughest, longest blooming, most underrated perennials in the garden, catmint. You might know it as nepeta. It looks a bit like lavender with those soft gray-green leaves and spikes of blue-purple flowers. But it's much easier to grow than lavender. It's not fussy about soil, it doesn't need perfect drainage, it blooms for months, not weeks, and it's incredibly drought-tolerant once established. Catmint is a plant that keeps on giving. It starts blooming in late spring and doesn't stop until fall, especially if you cut it back after the first flush. Bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds love it. Deer and rabbits ignore it. And yes, cats love it too. Not all cats, but many are attracted to the scent. It's related to catnip, but it's a different plant. Catmint is more ornamental and less intoxicating to cats. Before we dive in, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. We put out new gardening videos every week, and I don't want you to miss the next one. Also, drop a comment below. Do you grow catmint? Have your cats discovered it? I'd love to hear about it. Now, let's get into it. First, let's talk about the difference between catmint and catnip. They're both in the Nepeta genus, but they're different species. Catnip, Nepeta cateria, has white flowers and is the one that drives most cats crazy. It's less ornamental, more weedy looking. Catmint, usually Nepeta fascini or Nepeta X Walker, has blue-purple flowers and is much more attractive in the garden. It still affects cats, but not as strongly. For the garden, you want catmint. Catnip is better for a hidden corner if you want to entertain your cats. Now, let's talk about popular varieties. Nepeta Walker's Low is the most popular catmint. It grows about 2 feet tall and 2 to 3 feet wide. It has lavender blue leaves and gray-green flowers. It blooms from late spring to fall. It's not actually low growing. The name refers to a garden, not the plant. Nepeta Six Hills Giant is taller, reaching 3 feet with larger flowers. It's dramatic and vigorous. Nepeta Junior Walker is a compact version, about 12 to 15 inches tall, perfect for small gardens and containers. Nepeta Cat's Meow is another compact variety that stays tidy and doesn't flop open. All of these are excellent. Now, let's start with sun requirements. Catmint needs full sun for the best flowering and the most compact growth. It needs at least 6 hours of direct sunlight every day. In too much shade, the plants get leggy and floppy. They'll lean over and open up in the middle. The flowers will be sparse. In hot climates, a little afternoon shade is fine, but morning sun is essential. The more sun, the more flowers. Now let's talk about soil. This is where catmint shines. It's not picky. It grows in almost any well-draining soil, sandy, loamy, even rocky soil. It tolerates poor soil. It does not like heavy, wet clay that stays soggy. If you have clay soil, amend it with compost or sand to improve drainage. But catmint is much more forgiving than lavender. It prefers a pH between 6.0 and 7.5, neutral to slightly alkaline. It tolerates slightly acidic soil too. Now let's talk about planting. The best time to plant catmint is spring or early fall. Spring planting gives the roots time to establish before summer heat. Dig a hole twice as wide as the root ball. Plant at the same depth it was growing in its pot. Backfill, water thoroughly, and mulch. Space plants according to their mature size. Walker's Low needs 2 to 3 feet between plants. Six Hills Giant needs 3 feet. Compact varieties need 12 to 18 inches. Now let's talk about watering. Catmint is drought-tolerant once established. Water regularly during the first year to help the roots establish. After that, water deeply once a week during dry spells. In normal weather, you don't need to water at all. Overwatering is a bigger problem than underwatering. Catmint does not like wet feet. Let the soil dry out between waterings. Now let's talk about fertilizing. Catmint doesn't need much fertilizer. Too much fertilizer, especially too much nitrogen, will make the plant floppy and reduce flowering. In early spring, apply a thin layer of compost around the base. That's usually enough. If your soil is very poor, use a balanced slow-release fertilizer once in spring. Do not fertilize after midsummer. Now let's talk about pruning. This is the secret to keeping catmint blooming all season. Here's the routine. In late spring, after the plant has grown a few inches, you can pinch back the tips to encourage branching. But the most important pruning is after the first flush of flowers. Around midsummer, when the flowers start to fade and look tired, cut the whole plant back by about half. Use head shears or pruners. Within a few weeks, the plant will regrow and bloom again. You can get 2, sometimes 3 cycles of bloom this way. Without this cutback, the plant will get leggy and stop flowering. In late fall or early spring, cut the plant back to about 4 inches from the ground to remove dead growth. Now let's talk about common problems. Let's go through them one by one. Problem 1. Floppy, leggy plants that open in the center. Too much shade, too much water, or too much fertilizer. Move to a sunnier spot. Water less, stop fertilizing. Also, some older varieties naturally flop. Compact varieties like Cat's Meow stay tidier. Problem 2. Sparse flowers. Not enough sun. Move to a sunnier spot. Problem 3. Yellow leaves. Overwatering or poor drainage. Let the soil dry out. Improve drainage. Problem 4. Brown, crispy leaves. Underwatering or heat stress. Water deeply during dry spells. Problem 5. Powdery mildew. White powder on leaves. This can happen in humid weather with poor air circulation. Catmint is generally resistant, but it can get it. Space plants properly. Water at the base, not overhead. Remove affected leaves. Problem 6. Root rot. Caused by overwatering or heavy clay soil. The plant wilts and dies. Improve drainage, water less. In severe cases, remove the plant. Problem 7. Pests. Catmint is very pest resistant. It occasionally gets aphids or spider mites. Aphids cluster on new growth. Spray them off with water. Spider mites love dry conditions. Increase humidity or use neem oil. Problem 8. Cats rolling in the plants. Yes, this is a real problem for some gardeners. Cats love catmint. They'll roll in it, crush it, and sometimes dig it up. If neighborhood cats are a problem, plant catmint in a protected area or use a cage until the plant is established, or plant it near a road where cats are less likely to roam. Here's where you come in. Drop a comment below. Do you grow catmint? Do your cats bother it? What's your favorite variety? I'd love to know. Now, let's talk about catmint in landscaping. Catmint is incredibly versatile. Plant it along walkways and pathways. The soft gray-green foliage and blue flowers look beautiful spilling over the edges. Plant it in borders. It's a great filler between roses or other perennials. Plant it in rock gardens. It loves the heat and drainage. Plant it on slopes for erosion control. Its deep roots hold soil. Plant it in containers. Compact varieties are perfect for pots. Catmint also pairs beautifully with other plants. Try it with roses. The blue-purple flowers contrast perfectly with pink, red, or yellow roses. Try it with yellow daylilies or black-eyed Susans. Try it with ornamental grasses. Now, let's talk about catmint for pollinators. Catmint is a pollinator magnet. Bees love it. Bumblebees, honeybees, and native bees all visit it constantly. Butterflies love it, hummingbirds are attracted to the tubular flowers, and because catmint blooms for months, it provides a consistent food source when other plants have finished blooming. If you want a pollinator-friendly garden, plant catmint. Now let's talk about propagating catmint. Catmint is easy to propagate by division or cuttings. Divide plants in early spring or early fall. Dig up the clump, use a sharp spade or knife to cut it into sections, each with roots and shoots. Replant immediately. Water well. For cuttings, take 4-inch stem cuttings in spring or early summer. Remove the lower leaves, dip in rooting hormone, plant in moist potting mix. Keep in bright, indirect light. Roots form in 3 to 4 weeks. Let me give you a few quick answers to common questions. How long does catmint live? With good care, 5 to 10 years. When is the best time to plant? Spring or early fall? Can I grow catmint from seed? Yes, but it's slow. It's easier to buy plants or take cuttings. How do I keep catmint blooming all summer? Cut it back by half after the first flush of flowers fades. Is catmint invasive? It can self-seed, but it's not aggressively invasive. Remove unwanted seedlings. Does catmint spread? Yes, by roots and seeds. Divide every 3 to 4 years to keep it in bounds. Let's wrap everything up. Catmint is one of the easiest, most rewarding perennials you can grow. Give it full sun for the best flowering and compact growth. Plant in well-draining soil. It tolerates poor soil but not heavy, wet clay. Water regularly during the first year, then only during dry spells. Don't overwater. Don't over-fertilize. Prune back by half after the first flush of flowers fades. This gives you a second and sometimes third bloom. Cut back to 4 inches in late fall or early spring. Here's the most important thing to remember. Catmint is the plant for lazy gardeners. It doesn't need perfect soil, it doesn't need constant watering, it doesn't need deadheading. It just needs sun and one good haircut after it blooms. Plant it, water it for the first year, and then let it do its thing. It will reward you with months of blue-purple flowers and happy bees. Before you go, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and leave me a comment. Are you planting catmint this year? What will you pair it with? I'd love to hear about your garden. Also, what plant should I cover next? Russian sage? Salvia? Something else? Let me know. Thanks for watching. Take care of your garden, and it will take care of you. See you in the next video.